Good afternoon, everybody. It is 1 p.m. on this very wet Tuesday, the 9th of October, 2018. If you guys hear any music or loud banging, it is the contractor still here. This should be the last day they're here, so looking forward to getting all that done and then moving my office back to where it's supposed to go. So, yesterday was a holiday. We had Columbus Day and pretty nice holiday, I think, for the most part. What we've got going on here, making sure that this stream is going. Oh, well, okay, it is. Never mind. Sorry, I thought it wasn't. Okay. We've had a really tight consolidative market. I mean, I don't think we really need to go into how tight of a range that is, but I'm looking at, these are Hurst cycles right here. So for those who have not seen that stuff before, the Hurst cycles, Hurst cycle analysis is pretty lengthy. It's a bit of a read, but long story short, Hurst cycle analysis is measuring swings based on various time frames. So you start off with like a multi-year swings to see when swing lows appear on a yearly time frame. Then you go to a month, and then you go to weeklies, dailies, and so forth. So on here we see there's the 18-day Hurst cycle, which is well, I'll say this. There's trend lines that you draw off of those cycles as well. So a 18-day trend is the purple trend lines, and these are called VTLs or VLTs, valid trend lines. And then the blue is a 38-day cycle. The teal is an 80-day cycle. And then the green is a 20-week. And then there is a 40-week, which is kind of the lighter green here. And then the yellow is finally an 18-month cycle. And where you see these little diamonds up top and below, those are telling us that a swing was found during those cycles. So there was a swing found at the 18, the 40, the 18, the 38, the 80-day, and the 20-week cycles. There was a swing high found. And we can look forward in the future to see, okay, here are the cycles, here's how they form. So this is telling us, sometime in the future here that, let's see, where do we have a high confluence zone? Like in August of 2019, there may be a nice swing low, or in a major swing low back in later on into 2020. If we look up here, we see the major swing high was found during a whole collection here. So that's what we're looking at. And if we zoom in, what do we see? We see we've breached and moved both in time and price. We've moved beyond the 20-week downtrend line. We've moved beyond the 40-week downtrend line. And we are currently pressing up against the 18-day and the 40-day downtrend lines. And then right above that is the 18-month downtrend line, or uptrend line. So there's quite a bit of pressure right above us that we need to break above. I mean, the clear break here would be in the 6,800 is really the target area to get above here. And that would be a nice clean break higher. And no matter what way you look at this analysis, that is the reason for this congestion and this consolidation. I mean, we bring this down to a 1 hour or a 4 hour chart rather. Similar. Let it calculate. There we go. So the trend lines change depending on the day, the time frame. But I mean, really, it's really no different. We still see this tight consolidated range here. And yeah, it's like I said last Friday. I mean, this is just a wait. There's just a waiting game going on. But there is some evidence of some changes happening. And that is, yesterday we actually did catch a nice drive up, a nice pump up in some things, followed by some selling in the afternoon and into just yesterday afternoon, following into this afternoon. We see that, but now we may be catching a little bit of a drive higher here. We may be catching a little bit of a pump up on the hourly chart. See, Ethereum's recovering a little bit. So is Bitcoin, some of the altcoins, but a lot of the altcoins have had some type of major drive up, and some of them are still outperforming. ZRX is one of them. Now, the reason that ZRX got a pump up was because ZRX is probably going to be on Coinbase just because of this. This was a day ago. And again, folks, this is part of the Coinbase 5. I've been talking about this ever since that we started talking. I've talked about these like ZRX. So this is ZRX is showing up on Coinbase. This is legit. ZRX wallet. They're going to like your cost basis for taxes, and the ZRX wallet is on there. That's not the only image that was shown. Shoot. Where are we at? Gotta find it. Yeah, ZRX wallet. Okay, that's fine, but won't spend too much time trying to find that. But ZRX is one of the Coinbase 5. What are those Coinbase 5 again? We're talking about basic attention token, Stellar Lumens. We are talking about Cardano, Zcash, and ZRX. Zcash, I don't know. I don't know. And those are the 5 cryptos that Coinbase tweeted about back in around July that they were considering looking at to add to their platform. And I think we can pretty much guarantee, not pretty much guarantee, but out of any other cryptocurrency out there, those 5 have the highest probability of being listed, not only because Coinbase tweeted about it, but because Coinbase is trying to fast track the addition of cryptocurrencies onto its platform. Okay, they're losing a lot of market cap to other exchanges because they don't have a lot of coin listings. What people really want from Coinbase is fiat trading with dollars. And if you live in the United States, it's difficult to trade dollars in any kind of liquidity without opening up an account, like on that evil Bitfinex or BitMEX, which has predatory lending. One of the contractors' dogs is here because wife wouldn't pick it up to take it somewhere. So, yeah, it's just weird. So we've got that going on there. Looking at ZRX, it's gonna be a big mover. We've been talking about ZRX for a while, and it's going to be a really big deal, not just because it's going on Coinbase, but because of what it's focusing on is digitizing content and digitizing rights to content. So you're looking at things like if you do any artwork, okay, basically you take a picture or you draw something and anybody can get it. I mean, it's just kind of out there for anybody to use. And it's hard for artists to monetize things like that. Well, if you digitize the ownership of it on a blockchain or with blockchain technology, and all the other specifics are way over my head, but how you authenticate the right to see it or use it is going to be based on a tokenized identification and ownership system. So it's a pretty genius thing that they've got going on for video games too. All right, so ZRX getting a little bit of a recovery here after the nice drive up over the weekend. Zcash also had a little bit of a breakout, kind of trading down, but might be moving up again. Ripple still, really has not moved much ever since there was that big pump back on the 21st of September, and it corrected all the way down to about 43. We've been in this range for a while, and really no indications that we're going to try and trade down lower or higher. There's this downtrend line here that it's struggling to stay above. It may break above it. We'll see. Stellar Lumen. This is the one of the Coinbase 5. Caught a nice bid back in September, late September, last week of September, ranging around here, but experiencing a probable breakout conditions. Walton Chain has been an underperformer. We've talked about this guy getting in on here. Nano really continuing a tradition of subpar excellence. It's really trading pretty lower here. I mean, really tight range, not showing any signs. This damn fly. I think I got it. Not sure. Okay. IOTA. So IOTA has had a pretty nice drive too. Looks like we had a move up. We've had a little pullback. This may be the next leg higher here. We'll watch out for these. You got to be really careful with the bearish view of things. This is a horrible time of year to be bearish. You get into between September and January is where you get Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies in general have their bull run. And being bearish after February and March, that is perfectly fine, but any type of bearish sentiment is very risky in cryptocurrencies. We go back 10 years worth of data, or 8 years worth of data rather. It's very, very dangerous to have a bearish outlook, because we can just see through history that the late fall winter is where cryptos like to rise. It's just never a good idea to try and short this behemoth during this time of year, especially when we are looking at a textbook, symmetrical triangle. Some people call this a rising triangle or rising wedge. Wedges and triangles, they're viewed the same. If anybody says it's a triangle, it's not a wedge, that's just silly. The issue here is this is a textbook case of a triangle breakout, and what are those cases? You get around 4 to 5 tests within those trend lines, and the volume should decrease as you get close to the apex. And it's generally pretty normal to see a breakout happen 2/3 of the way. You rarely get a full completion. I mean, anybody who's traded anytime, you rarely ever see a price travel into the apex. It usually breaks out the last third of the way, which is totally normal. Because actually one of the conditions that you want to see is you want to see volume start. You want to see volume dry up, and you want to see the price action dry up. That is your kind of big red truck, heads up, we're going to have a move soon. And I mean, if we're going to drift to the right, we can only drift to the right really, but if we're going to continue to drift in this tight pattern here, I mean, what is the date that we see the actual apex come to a head here, at least on the Hearst analysis? We're looking at October 13th, October 14th. I mean, that's a long time to be. We've spent, as far as price ranges are concerned, we've spent a considerable amount of time here. I think this is the most, let's take a look at this, the most amount of time. If we go to, let's see, Bitcoin. All right. So, well, I mean, volume profile will do that for us just fine. But if we look at the volume profile, we have spent the most amount of time in this area, period. I mean, going back all the way to, let's go year over year. We're back in September. Beginning of September to now, here's the volume profile. I mean, this is right where prices have decided to accumulate and stick and stay. And it is just part of a breakout pattern. This is, I don't really know how any way to describe this any more than what that we're witnessing. It's just this is a very normal and textbook case of triangle consolidation prior to a breakout, because we were talking about this on with Forex Lens yesterday. Now it wants to go there. I mean, really, we've already like broken out above it. How you, depending on the data you use. I mean, there's no matter which way you look at it. What was I saying? Oh yes. No matter which way you want to look at this, there's going to be a big move. This is not going to sit here for much longer. Maybe to the 14th. Don't see it, but we have all the things met for watching prices shoot out of here. It's not going to take much. And the thing is if we're holding the 6,600 level now, that's awesome. We start to push that. This is going to tip over one way or the other. And when it finally does, it's going to be a pretty big deal. We could certainly see one of those 1,000, wick days, or 1,000 full candle body days. That is certainly not outside the realm of possibility. This is perfectly aligned with the right technical patterns before we move out. We talked about this on Friday too, is that the Bollinger Bands, they have not been this tight since July of 2017. June or July of 2017. Bollinger Bands have not been this tight. I mean, this is a squeeze. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with Bollinger Bands, they're made by one of the most prolific contemporary technical analysts, Jon Bollinger. Bollinger Bands are a volatility indicator. And so you see an upper and lower band, and basically they are going to measure the extremes of prior action. And, as the bands expand, that is telling you that there's volatility, there's price action, there's participation, there's stuff going on. When they constrict, that's telling you that that volatility is decreasing, or it already has decreased. And when it gets like this, that is the thing to look out for. There's no other indicator on the planet besides drawing regular trend lines and triangles that I know of that can show you or the Ichimoku system that can show you such a clear image of a market that is about to blow up than Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands are just a fantastic tool. I always have them on my charts just because sometimes I'm a visual guy, so sometimes it's like, is this really looking like it's consolidating? Yeah, the bands are pretty tight together, and it's not it will not take much to move this market. And the thing is when you get a breakout of long-term consolidation, squeezes happen before. This is chicken and the egg scenario, I guess, but squeezes happen after a big move, and they precede a big move. All right, that's a normal rule and pattern in any market. But with Bollinger Bands, you'll always see a squeeze precede the next big move. So that's what we're in right now. This is a pretty interesting zone, pretty exciting zone to look at. I mean, it's good to be in this zone. You got to think about this, folks. We have not made a new low since February. Okay? Since February 6th, we have not made a new low. Now people say, well, we did make a new low back in June. Yeah, but really the structure of the low has not been broken. Okay? It has not deviated, it has not moved, it has stayed pretty much the same. What are the indications of a bear market? Lower lows. What are the indications of a bull market? Higher highs. Trends, you want to see, if you're following just a trend, you're looking for higher lows. If you're looking for trends to show you a downtrend, you're looking for lower highs. But if you're looking for a broad market move, you need to see higher highs in a bull market, and you need to see the extremes of value gain as you're moving. That's why stock market's always looking at all-time highs and that looks at lows for shorting. I mean, equity markets are kind of a different beast, but in cryptocurrencies, it's no different. We have not been in a bear market since February. Maybe if you want to say that this was confirmation of a bottom back in March, we could say March. But there has not been any new lows formed, all right? And what is this telling us? It's just a story, okay? This has just told us that there were plenty of people who thought they missed the boat and tried to get in and tried to buy in at these new lows here. Then they bought at the highs, or they participated. There's clearly some bullish activity. But then it sells off and bears step in, but buyers support it. And then it trades up. And what are we seeing here? Who is winning the fight? Who's getting exhausted here? Bears, sellers, they're getting exhausted. Why? Because they can't push prices down anymore. But what are the bulls doing? What are the bulls thinking? They're like, I don't want to experience any more false breaks up and pain. And so now we've reached the point of equilibrium into a cycle where we get into the bullish, the bullish seasonal cycle, and the weight here of sellers is not there. And so we got to be on the lookout for the next move up, which is, I really don't know how else to say it. It'll happen when it happens, but this is I don't know how much tighter you could. I mean, I know how much tighter we could get. We could get extremely tight. The ranges could get even tighter, but I mean, I don't know how much more of that has to happen before there's a move up. I mean, we're trading an inside bar right now. The daily is an inside bar, which means that it has this inside bar means, well, any inside bar means it has a lower high and a higher low than the prior candlestick. So this is we're just seeing continued evidence of a market ready breakout. If we take a look at the weekly, this is even more telling, is that the weekly has shown we've entered a squeeze as well. Okay, we had this big drive up. Actually, let's look at, here we go. We had this massive drive up last year. Look at the Bollinger Bands. And notice, and do take note of this, is that when you exit consolidation and you start a drive up and you start to notice on any time frame, whether it's an hourly, a 4-hour, a daily, a weekly, if you start to see prices close above the Bollinger Bands, you are an idiot for trying to short it. Okay? A lot of people try to trade Bollinger Bands, where when prices get to the extreme range of the bands, whether the upper or the lower bands, they think that they should short it if it's up here and buy it if it goes down here. Now there is some truth to that, but when you're exiting a consolidated range and you start to see prices and you start to see price close above the upper band, that is a strong signal that that thing will go on for a while. All right. There are any market you look at, futures, forex, equities, cryptocurrencies, when you start to see prices close, you know, above the Bollinger Bands or below the Bollinger Bands, that's almost an easy thing to do, is just to go long if this is happening, or to go short here. But we are, I drew these rays from these extremes. I mean, you know, you could, we just see how prices have created these continual lower highs, but the lows, they've stayed pretty much flat, and now we see this price action here. Just a really, 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 really tight range, and the volume has dropped off. If you're reading forum posts or chat rooms about people saying the volume's dropped off, price is going to go down, no, that's not how it works when you're in a consolidation zone like this. That is a breather before the big move. We're just seeing exhaustion from the sellers. That's what we've got going on. I mean, it's very evident that there's not a lot of support left to try and sell this market. Now it just needs to drive higher. So, what are the instruments that are showing some good entries or exits? Let's start off with those Coinbase 5. Let's look at Cardano. We'll look at the Bitcoin pair. We're going to do the Ichimoku system for this, because the Ichimoku system is probably the best system ever for just looking at a market and being able to tell what you should do. So this is awesome. On the daily chart for Cardano, the ADA BTC, we have the lagging span. This is really important. I can't really stress how important this is, but the lagging span is right now above the baseline. Price is above the baseline, the conversion line, and the bottom of the cloud. Stupidly bullish signal. That is a great, great, great signal here. You know, very soon here on the daily, we're going to get a TK cross or a Kumo twist, or where we see span A above span B. Same thing on the 4 hour. This is a pretty bullish. This is actually a really nice looking 4 hour chart. But if we're waiting for an entry on the on the daily, you know, we have a pretty clear bull flag going on here on the daily chart. That's down below. Sorry, that the daily chart's on the top left. The 4 hour is on the top right, and then the bottom here is the hourly. So on the hourly, we have, you know, really nice bull flag here. The trade is pretty simple, where we want to trade the flag above this high right here. So an entry at 1320 in the Cardano Bitcoin pair. One hour Ichimoku bullish flag break. So that's on Cardano. Basic attention token is actually doing pretty nicely. It's had a little bit of a pump up. I mean, basic attention token, same thing we've got going on here. Where is it facing resistance? Top of the cloud, but we're pretty much sticking right on the conversion line. We're above the baseline. It's not going to take much to push this guy up, over, and higher. On the 4 hour, we're still trending higher. The 1 hour looks pretty consolidated. You know, there's a case for an entry around here, maybe at 27.44. Yeah, maybe not sure. That remains to be. I mean, I have a lot of the Coinbase 5 in my portfolio. ZRX, I'm so glad I added more to that last month. Or month before, whenever it was. I write for CoinClarity.com, and I did an article on the Coinbase 5. I call them the Coinbase 5. That's my name for them. It's kind of cheesy, but that's just what I call them. But I did a thing on ZRX, and I hadn't done as much due diligence in ZRX as I had the others, and I just didn't see. I had written that I didn't see a point in that because it was just a blockchain wanting to digitize items. And then when somebody had commented on it, like right as I was reading more and learning more about it from an investment standpoint, I was like, oh my God, this is actually a really advanced project. And I mean, this is great. I mean, this is not just I'm looking for things that have like applications outside of just being the fad of being a cryptocurrency or being in a blockchain technology, looking for something that is actually having a use case. And ZRX is one of those. And there was some guy who commented and said he really liked my post on the Coinbase 5, but he said I was dead wrong on saying ZRX. I didn't really see a point in it, and he was totally right. I was really wrong on ZRX. So again, I have plenty of Cardano, XLM, basic attention token, ZRX, and not a lot of Zcash. Not a lot. I actually trimmed down my Zcash position just a little bit. I could be way wrong, but I just don't see privacy coins being something that Coinbase wants to deal with, especially because they're working so hand in hand with regulators that when you get to, I mean, then again, it's like you're just buying a derivative. I mean, what it's used for isn't really the exchange's responsibility. So I don't know. Anyways, basic attention token. We have all the conditions met for taking a long trade. It's just would really like to see more of a break of some recent highs here, but probably this double top here could be bought above at 27.48. That'd be 1 hour Ichimoku. Then we've got the XLM. Looking at the US dollar pair. Again, on XLM, we've got the daily chart is on the top left. The 4-hour chart is on the top right. And the bottom chart is the hourly. Hourly is I usually do the trade entries on the hourly. So the daily chart here for XLM is this is a pretty textbook case of you don't take a trade when when this is going on. When prices are sitting inside the cloud, that is your first indication that you should just skip the chart. Except on the daily, and I'll tell you why. So, not looking at the hell. Walking in my backyard. Oh, okay, I know why. So the daily chart, we're sitting in here. That's fine where it's at. The 4-hour is pretty tight as well. The other sign that you're in consolidation is if price, the lagging span, the conversion line are all on top of each other, then I mean, if you see the lagging span trading inside price action, that's your kind of heads up that you're going to be in a waiting period. So that's what we've got going on there. So the 4-hour doesn't really have a clear entry. Taking a trade on the 1 hour is totally doable, where if we saw price break above, or lagging span break above price, we'd be at 25.09, and price action would trade above the base here. 25.05 wouldn't be a bad entry. What's that look like over here? 25. We're getting close to the top of the cloud there. But the 1 hour would have more of a... I mean, if I wasn't long on it already. Lagging span above price and price above base. So there's that. We got Ripple. Oh, sorry, Zcash. Zcash. Where are we at? All right, so Zcash pressing up against the cloud here, trying to. I mean, this is always fun to watch when prices reach a wall of a cloud, like horizontally. It's like prices don't know what to do. I mean, clearly it's facing rejection at the top of the cloud on the daily, but it's just going to move through here. We're still above the baseline. That's good. The 4 hours finding support twice now on pretty good volume above the bottom of the cloud. That's pretty bullish, I think. And then the 1 hour chart, it's just a really tight range. You know, on the 4 hour, you know what? There's better trades. ZRX. Come on, TradingView. Oh, that's a nice little pump up there. I didn't see that. Nice little breakout. So, yeah, I mean, there's a pretty clear, easy trade here on the hourly. Lagging span above price in both of the conversion and the baselines, and then price above the cloud. We're looking at the 1144. Pretty easy to spot there. ZRX, BTC. Oops, ZRX. Long at 0.1144. Price above cloud and lagging span above price action. All right. There's that. Now let's take a look at some others. Let's see Walton Chain. Let's see what Walton Chain is doing. Been trading Walton Chain over the weekend and stuff because because it's been the laggard. It's been a big laggard. It's been trailing everybody else, and now it's had a nice breakout. I think we'll definitely see a pullback on this, and I want to get in on a pullback on the 4 hour chart on a pullback to 309. You know what? Let me see the Bitcoin pair though. Not the US dollar pair. Even though they have pretty much the same charts. Walton Chain, pullback to 46.76. Yep. That'd be a four hour pullback to the baseline. Or, you know, if you're watching it live, whenever it were to pull back down to here. Yeah, that'd be the conversion on the daily. Man, this is actually really... My profit target got hit on this yesterday. And now I'm mad. Oh, well. Okay, let's look at Litecoin, actually. See what Litecoin is doing. Because it is just... it has not moved. I mean, out of all the pairs on Coinbase, this is the one that is the most constricted. Well, I think maybe, but we're sitting here inside the cloud. We found support here a little bit on the daily. On the top left here, we see the daily chart. Little bit of a wick there, finding support at the baseline and the bottom of the cloud. Pretty good sign there. Take a look at the 4 hour chart. Looks like it wants to try and press up against here and get back into the 4 hour. We are trading above price here, so that's pretty good. But you know, if we're looking at the hourly for an entry, I mean, we're looking at a break above this swing high here, or at least, I mean, what is that, 59.05 maybe? Where's 59.05 here? Yeah, that'd be an okay one. Yep. It'll be the 1 hour Ichimoku. 1 hour Ichimoku break above baseline. Lagging span above price. All right. So those are the good ones. Telegrams out on those. Ethereum Classic. Nah. Nano. Nano, I mean, this guy has been underperforming again, and Walton Chain and Nano, they do move around the same time periods together. The last 5 moves that Walton Chain and Nano have done, it has been together. Nano, just from a pure speculative trading past action behavior, this is a pretty much a long for me where it's at right now. I'm totally fine at right 0.12343 oops, one too many Satoshis. I hate that name. All right, Waves also underperforming. In fact, over the weekend, you know, when a lot of other guys were pumping up pretty nicely, Waves did not move. Had a bit of a drive up back in early September, if you remember. They had, I think they had hit 1 million users or 10 million or something. I don't know. It's a good blockchain. Nothing wrong with it, but it's sitting at these lows. And it's clearly finding a lot of support around here. If we look at this on the hourly, we can see how tight this range is. You know, I mean, and how much buying is going on here. I don't know if we collapse or capitulate, but I mean, I'm not interested in taking a risk on a possible whipsaw down. I'm more interested in waiting for, you know, price to come to my target, which is, if I was going, actually, I'm going to do it right now. I'll put the trade out first, and then I will put in a trade, because that is how I do it. So I'm looking at, what is that, 3302 Nano, or sorry, Waves BTC at, what is this, 3304. We'll just say 3304. 0.13304. Wait, yeah, Waves. And bear with me while I actually do this on my own here. I'm going to swap out. And I want to do a limit right there. Oops. And yes, okay. Cool. Got it. There are 2 contractors, an electrician, and 3 plumbers here right now. There's a lot of people out there. Okay, so Waves we've got going on. That's good. Let's see. Check out OMG. OMG BTC is what I want. OMG, I mean, this is the same pattern we're going to see pretty much everywhere, folks. Is just this really, really, really tight range. But there wasn't a lot of, you know, over the weekend when a lot of things were catching bids, this guy didn't. OMG is actually kind of lagging in that respect. So an entry at, what is that, 535. Pretty just fine, actually. OMG BTC long at 535. Be on the 1 hour Ichimoku. that'd be price above cloud, lagging span above cloud, and price. OMG Digix Dale. DGD. Want to see more? Nope, don't want to do it. Populous, missed the right on that one. BQX, missed a little bit of right. EOS, let's check out EOS. I'll check out the EOS dollar pair. Looking pretty healthy there. I mean, got another flag condition here. I think actually we're seeing a possible breakout of this bullish flag. Yep, want to get above here though. So EOS 597, shock, $6 range. At 597, breakout flag. And yeah, let's do a little quick check on what we've got going on with Bitcoin. If there's anything else different going on here, geometry wise. Four-hour chart closing in an hour and 12 minutes has pretty good volume here. Pretty good volume here. Nice reversal candlestick. We'll see. Ethereum Classic. Or sorry, regular Ethereum actually on the 4-hour. Pretty nice pivot we got set up here. Litecoin looking ugly and beaten up as always. It has been 2 months we've been trading in that $56 range here. 2 months. Thing different with Cardano, regained the. Yeah, I mean, this is a setup for a nice breakout, folks. This is looking pretty good. I mean, man. Again, it's just a waiting game, so not much we can do. Just wait. So, yeah. Anyways. I hope you guys had a good weekend, a good holiday if you had it off. I'm just double checking some things here. Yeah, I mean, ZRX do something again? Did I totally? I mean, I didn't miss it. I've been in it. I'm just wondering when exactly that happened. Okay, so in the last. Okay, yeah, that really just happened not too long ago here. ZRX, when we get a break above this 1530, this is the 4/8 major harmonic. Wait, is it? Yes, it is. 4/8 major harmonic. This is the exact center of the natural price range. The fact that we are pushing this and that we are continuing to test it it's telling you it's going to move higher. ZRX is I'm really happy with it. The breakout we were talking about back in mid-September right here that we highlighted, that is exactly what we have going on now. Really expecting this to trade a little bit higher and catch a bigger bid. Zcash catching a little bit of a drive now as well. Waves not doing a damn thing, just sitting there. Nano, not much. Cardano, yeah, let's see, do more. Ethereum Classic, dull. Ethereum. Yeah. What celestial movement do I have for the next few days? Well, let's take a look. My chair makes all sorts of noises. Oh, moon. Oh yeah, that's right. We did have a new moon yesterday. I just want. And then is there apogee perigee? Oh, within a few days of it. It's good. Oh yeah, if I could comment on celestial movements and equities, sure. Oh man, so it's actually a fun one to do because I did an idea in TradingView back on. There's 2 dates, October 2nd, but before that, on September 14th. So on September 14th, I indicated that there were a couple big kind of things happening here. The first was this kind of a signal here with a whole bunch of crap happening on the 24th to the 25th. But ultimately, the thing that's bad for equities is this thing called the Venus retrograde aspects. Yeah, I'll give you aspects. The Venus retrograde cycle. Whenever this shows up, Venus retrograde, it's almost always bearish in U.S. equities. I mean, it's one of those. It'll happen. I mean, if you see the stock market, the U.S. stock market, trading at some type of swing high or a historical high, or if it's near an all-time high, and then you are, really close to the Venus retrograde cycle, plan on prices dropping. That is a very normal thing to have happen. I mean, this is the dollar index. So I talked about this back on September 14th. And then when we talk about the actual performance of what's going on, we just have to really take a look at the Dow. And I mean, these highlighted areas, this is the Venus retrograde cycle that I have highlighted here. And then the one before that was right here. The one before that is over here. The one before that is over here. The one before that is over here. So, I mean, is there an inversion? You would think so. You would think so, but gold has not been trading like it normally would. I mean, generally we see U.S. equities fall, you see gold go up. The yen index and the dollar, I mean, it is so funky, guys. Things are all over the place. Historically, tree truffle, yes, that is totally correct. When you see the Venus retrograde cycle, you do see gold drive higher. We kind of did see a little bit of that. Where's my gold chart? Right here. We did see a little bit of that last week, but otherwise, we just gold has been farting around in this range for ever since August. Oh, you're talking about that I wonder if everybody's seen that before. The Economist. It's from the 80s. Pull it up here. I'll get a bigger image of it if I can. Looks like a reputable news site. I have no idea. But here is, damn it, that's not even a big enough image. Where is it? Come on. Well, was this published? I love them searching in Google Images for a better picture, but it says, was this published already? This is from 1980 something. I don't remember, but what's interesting is that the it says getting ready for a world currency, and you see the dollar burning, and the, you know, it says 1010 Phoenix. If the other thing somebody pointed out is that VIX, those are Roman numerals, and then 2018 it's circled here. It's on the coin. It's a pretty interesting thing. I mean, it's it's coincidence. Who knows? It's pretty neat. Yeah, 1010 is the apex of Bitcoin. It really is. It's pretty interesting. There's a weird thing with like numbers in Gann's work where like there's a relationship between angles and numbers, and there's a relationship between time and price. For instance, for Bitcoin, or for anything in Gann's work, you look for a square of price and time, and when price and time are squared, you see major activity happen. So looking at this cycle right here, you can see that when we get to the a square of price and time, so in the very center here, we see that there are some significant and crazy moves that happen. Also talking about, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember talking about this the other day, but let me find it here. I wrote about it in Coin Clarity. I did an article on this. How to forecast, was that it? I don't remember. Yeah. All right, well, somebody tell me if we talked about this on Friday. I know we talked about it. I don't remember when we talked about it, but so let's just look at Bitcoin real quick and talk about the relationship. So Bitcoin, if I'm looking at its all-time high over here, it's like 19,898. And if I look at that value in Gann's square of 9, which is this tool right here. Again, sorry, I've got the contractors here, but so this is a square of 9. This is a forecasting tool. This is how you can find time and price squared and find dates and price levels that will be important. So the all-time high is, if you take the square root of it, so 19,898 rounded is 141. That's the square root is 141, and the degrees of 144, which is a very important number, date, and angle in Gann's work. They even put it in the software here. I want to see, where are you at? Degree layout overlays 144. All right, so 144 days from 141. Sorry, or 144 degrees is, where are we at here? 76. Sorry, wait a minute. I'm reading my notes here. Square root of 19,890 is 141. 144 degrees from that level in the square of 9 is 76. Right, and so 144 degrees from the, I'm probably confusing the hell out of everybody, but 144 degrees from this all-time high is 5,776. That is pretty much within a couple dollars of the low found in June. The low here is 5,790. No, it wasn't. It was actually lower, wasn't it? 5,790, and 144 degrees was there. So it's a pretty interesting a move, and to look at time and price. And then we did do this this forecast. So looking at future prices, and they're banging away here. My time's almost up here, anyways. But if we're looking at the all-time or the yearly low, plotting from that or plotting from the all-time high, we get a series of price levels and dates where we see things happen. So 144 degrees from the June 28th low is November 22nd, or 180 degrees from that June 28th low is December 28th. And then the price levels are also given based on the low of that year as well. So there's a number of price targets that Bitcoin could reach where it would be squared in price and time. And so the thing is that these would be levels that I am very comfortable saying if prices get to, I am leaving the market for a short amount of time. If maybe not at 21,000, but if it were to get up to the 35 to 39,000, if Bitcoin were, those are the areas I would be going, okay, bye-bye. I'm going to shave a lot off here and just take some profit, because when time and price get into some pretty, well, these aren't actually squared areas, but they're pretty damn close to the same levels that you want to kind of take a walk away from. But really, before I go out to answer your question, any of that astrophenomena, there is some, where did I put my notebook? That's okay. There is the aspects. There is the, okay, actually just hang on one sec. I got to grab my notebook for my notes. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Where was it? It was bear with me. It was a conjunction, I think, but that wasn't there. Mercury conjunct Jupiter. I was working on some of these last night because the Mercury conjunction of Jupiter, I think this one already happened. No, it's coming up. In November, and it continues in December. Sun, sextile Uranus. Nope. Venus is a, things always happen with Venus in all markets almost. It's the money planet. Shows up at a lot of swings. That doesn't happen again until December 26th. Did I get the right aspect on that? I did. Sorry about that noise. Venus in, oh yeah. I'm looking at sign changes.